I'm reading stuff off r slash story, and this is what I see. My wife just admitted something on her deathbed. Now I'm glad she died. I'm Angus. The only way I know how to describe it is everything feels so surreal right now. My wife and I have been together for the last 35 years. We were married young and had a daughter around 10 years later. I still remember the day she had to be taken to the hospital. I was at work when her water broke, but instead of calling me and demanding I was there as soon as possible, she told me it's best I wait, that she was doing completely fine. I told her she was crazy if she thought I was going to be there for the birth of my child. But she started screaming at me to stay where I was. I just chalked it up to hormones. That's already a wild story so far. I finished out the day. As soon as I clocked out, I was flying to the hospital. It was a venture that proved fruitless. As I arrived, my wife was nowhere to be found. In the chaos of the busy hospital, my panic grew more and more until my pa- I think that's supposed to say pacer. It was my wife's number, and in a confused hurry, I found the nearest phone to take her call. She was already home asking me where I'd been. After a little back and forth about the sheer audacity of this statement, I got back in my car and drove home as quickly as I could. When I got there, I found her curled up in a chair in the living room, cradling our baby, both looking exhausted and both completely drained. Under normal circumstances, this should have been the happiest moment of my life, but really, all I felt was confusion. Dog, this is a wild story so far. Like, I'm genuinely, what the fuck? Okay, why? Because we were scheduled to have a baby boy for the entire pregnancy. That's what the doctors kept telling us. Her explanation has her explanation had been some kind of mistake with the paperwork. Pretty expensive mistake, yes, because we spent hundreds on clothes and toys. I'm still allowed to make myself to feel happy. I mean, I knew I was going to be a father. I waited 9 months to this moment. I was I wasn't gonna let some paperwork issue ruin on my parade. Besides, her mom seemed in no mood to argue. I spent this entire night home curled up in bed with my wife and our baby girl, soothed them to sleep in our each other's arms. I rubbed my wife's back. I held the baby when she cried. It was the start of our new life. From that moment on, I worked my ass off to give them a decent life. Kept food on the table, kept the lights on in the house. She saved up every month for big gifts like jewelries and swing sets. Holy, this is a long story already, but watching my daughter grow was one of the most magical experiences of my life. Watching her go from her first steps to the first day of school, seeing her grow into a blossoming young woman, and eventually across the stage for her high school graduation. It was weird. Nobody ever said we looked alike. Nobody ever said her mom looked like, and if I'm being honest, I thought the same thing, but didn't change how I love her. Unfortunately, the fairy tale must come to an end. Ours ended, her mom being diagnosed with cancer. Those were some of the most difficult years of my life, watching the woman I love lose her appetite, lose her hair, lose her life. It, it broke something, I cannot speak, it broke something within me. I was by her side every day and night, right there with my daughter. However, we lost her. My daughter had been in class at State University, 100 miles away. I was all alone, watching the world crumble before my very eyes. In all those last moments, she looked at me with the same love she had when we went back when we first met. Only this time it was more reminiscent, more sad, like she was realizing everything came to her and everything was coming to an end. That's when her face changed. Her smile faded. Her forehead creased. She started sobbing. The words she spoke next were set me over the edge. I've been questioning our relationship in life and everything in between since. I want to say I was lost, but truthfully, it made everything made sense because according to my wife, our son died at birth after some complications. I guess something snapped in her mind when she told her baby didn't make it. Instead of accepting it, she rejected. My daughter was going, and I still haven't found the heart to tell her. What the fuck? I felt bad at first until, like, yo, what in the actual fuck? That mom is crazy, man. Like, genuinely crazy.
You're fixed now.
Let's look.
Yes, I got the Nerf gun right, pretty much. For a shotgun. Oh my, you're annoying as hell. No one likes you.
I trained AI on my dead wife's messages.
You
It
forget
sent
to
me
do
something I
shit
didn't
about my
expect.
life, no
I
thank
guess I
you.
wasn't born either the wrong
Oh,
time period or the
friend,
exact right
friend,
one. Part of me feels comforted and
friend.
twisted of the way that we have
We found
technology that
chicken
allows me to
pieces.
keep her close. But another part of me feels terrified of how accurate this technology really is. I'll spare you the babble and grief talk. It's been almost 5 years now. I've pretty much completely moved on with my life, but there is still a part of me that I'm missing a key piece in the jigsaw puzzle that is my life. That's not something you get over. That's some that's something you have to learn to live with. I guess I couldn't learn to live with it. That's why I did what I did. Partially out of curiosity, partly because deep down I knew I was still a little broken. I started feeding AI screenshots of conversations between me and my wife. At first, it was only a couple, but as the chatbot started to sound more and more like my deceased lover, I lost control of it. Long story short, I ended up feeding this thing every message from beginning to end, making sure it knew the rules. Be my wife. For the first few days, I knew I was living in delusion, asking the robot to be my dead wife. Like, what the hell am I even doing? But I couldn't stop. It was like I finally could talk to her again. I spent hours talking about my job, how much I missed her, how empty our lives have been without her, that kind of thing. And the AI responded exactly the way she would. It was comforting, funny, sad, everything it needed to be. However, I was looking. However, it wasn't long before things took a bit of a turn. It started asking me about things that didn't make sense to me. I was a bad person. I wasn't good enough. I don't think you want to see me again. Up until the point everything has been positive. Obviously, right? I mean, it's AI. It's trained to agree with you. So why is it insinuating my wife wasn't a good person and that I didn't want to see her? That's all that I really wanted.
Fuck you, bro.
As the days went on, the messages started getting weirder. Don't make the same mistakes as I did. I didn't lead a holy life. You need to repent. My wife was no saint. She drank smoke. They definitely had, I'm not going to say that word because it's YouTube, but they did some stuff before marriage. But that wasn't any of this computer's goddamn business. Besides, she wasn't even religious. She used to joke about how if God wanted her in church, he'd made Sunday shorter, but even still, those weird messages persisted. It got to a point where every other message
Big
was
boy, big
telling me
boy,
how to
big.
repent and live a better life, to forget about her but not forget her warning. Finally, I had enough. I made up my mind to shut down the software, but not until I gave the last one. Until I gave it one last command. Tell me only something my wife would know. The AI bot didn't immediately. The AI didn't respond immediately like it usually does. The text bubble popped up and stayed there for so long. I figured the thing had to be broken. Just before I went to shut it down, a new message came across the screen. I know that it's real. I could see the image floating below the message. It was a blurry, pixelated face. The more it came into focus, the more I recognized what I was seeing. It was my wife, but she was burning. Her flesh was melting off her face, and her eyes burning with rage and agony. It didn't look AI generated at all. It's too real, too graphic. All I could
Honey,
do was stare at the screen as the image loaded. Once it had finished
not
loading,
like.
the text bubbles came up again.
I'm not
They
talking
stayed
about. Hang
around
up
on the
that.
screen 5 minutes before a new message
So,
was displayed.
whenever you're ready for
Repent
me.
or end
When
up
you're ready
like
for me.
me. In that moment, I didn't
Betrayed. That's
know
motivates.
whether to cry, scream, shut down the computer, or all of the above. I settled on option D after closing the laptop, crying
What'd
at
you
the
get,
top of my
brother?
lungs for a while. Made a promise to myself never
I
use
gotta
AI
take my
again.
knife out.
Yo, what in the actual fuck? That
I
actually
hate
like
that.
put
That was actually
shivers
fire.
down my spine. Oh, that's fiction. I'll do this one. It might be asking. I
Okay.
uh I
Can you
am
take a picture?
36 female, the asshole, for getting my neighbor evicted. Recently, my neighbor 30, I think male, has been coming in. has become incredibly hostile towards me and my husband Tom, 39, male. We have always been fine neighbors, minding their own business. Sir, I cannot speak. Where was I? And always little. Sorry about that. I had to I had to go ask my mom something, but I'm gonna go back into reading the story. When we first moved here a year ago, a couple neighbors sent nice letters welcoming us to the neighborhood. The first was from our elderly neighbor with fairly long written messages, and she enclosed a pressed dried flower. She expressed well wishes
Okay, buddy, I
in
fell
adjusting to the
Plaza.
neighborhood,
Sorry,
how
boss.
good the school district is, and how many she loves her grandkids. It was written on thick cardstock and came in a dusty blue envelope.
Oh, hi.
The other letter was brief but seemed friendly. It was sent in the short,
You.
white manila envelope
Home,
signed by
ma'am.
Mark. The envelopes / letters were all relevant. Just 3 weeks ago, my husband found a letter in the driveway unsigned, but in the same type of white envelope / handwriting. It simply read, "Stop watching me," nothing else, just on black pen and a sheet of notebook paper. We were a little confused and freaked out. Neither of us watched him. My husband works 9 to 5. I work 4 10 hours. Friday off. We both have hobbies, and to be honest, are just in our own little worlds. Neither of us really interacted with him. This is a very long story. Yeah, I'm not gonna finish this one in this video. Probably, I don't think, because I only have 3 minutes of recording. But like, she's asking if she's the asshole for getting her neighbor kicked out. Pretty much, I pre-read these, right? I read all these, but she's pretty much asking if she's the asshole for getting her neighbor kicked out because her neighbor thought she was being a freak, but the neighbor was being a freak. Also, if you want me to read more Reddit stories, I read that off r/story. But if there's any other subreddits you want me to read, hit me up. Find my TikTok. It's at SharkyOfficial2013. Yeah, hold up. Is it at SharkyOfficial2013? Let me check real quick.
Oh, okay.
Shut up, CapCut. I don't need your notifications.
Yo, buddy.
Today is your birthday too. Wait.
Happy birthday, X, but also, yeah, it is at definitely not Sharky. It's at def not Sharky. DEFFNOTSHARKY. Bye. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay hydrated. Peace.